Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest expansion-packed episode of the Switch It Up show. I am your host today, Seth Trav, joined as always by our friend Glenn.
Hey buddy, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I have been feeling a lot of allergies happening lately over here. The springtime is definitely in full swing here, so if my voice sounds a little congested and scratchy and nasally, that is why, ladies and gentlemen. I have been longing for some respite from this, which is interesting because the name of the game I'm playing is The Longing. But before we get to that, ladies and gentlemen, we gotta let these sweet, sweet beats ride. Anamanaguchi, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, the sweet, sweet toss-it tones when I am not sneezing. Be sure to check them out anywhere you can find music. First game we're reviewing today, ladies and gentlemen, is The Longing. It is $14.99. It is currently available on the Nintendo Switch, and you get 75 gold coins when you purchase it digitally. The Longing is an unusual mix of adventure and idle game. Play as a lonely shade, the last servant of a king who once ruled an underground kingdom. The king's powers have faded, and he falls asleep for 400 days to reign his might. It is your duty to stay in the earthen palace until he awakens. As soon as you start, the game inevitably counts down the 400 days. Even when you stop playing and exit the game, it is now up to you to decide what to do with your solitary existence beneath the soil. Don't stress yourself. You have plenty of time. Choose your playing style. Start the game and simply come back after 400 days to see how it ends. You actually don't have to play the game at all, but the shade will be even more lonely without you. Or explore the caves and collect items with your comfortable underground living room. Just send the shade to take a stroll. The walking speed is slow, but luckily, there is no need to hurry. Read tons of classic literature, from Nietzsche to Moby Dick, right in the game, or at least have the shade read them. After all, time goes by faster if you learn to keep your mind occupied. The little shade in the game finds only English books, for now. Ignore the king's commands and advance to the outer regions, the cave. It will become a long and dangerous journey into darkness. It features slow exploration and a vast, hand-drawn cave, atmospheric dungeon synth soundtrack, lots of well-hidden secrets, time-based puzzles, and a lonely but cute protagonist. It was also nominated for several awards and won the German Computer Games Award in 2020. It is from our good friends over at Application Systems, Heidelberg Software GmbH, and Ash Games. This game, you may recall from the recent indie showcase, where you saw a game that took you literally 400 days to play. If you didn't catch it in that description I just gave, you do actually have to take 400 days to play this game, or so it seems when you first start. As they said, you can do several things to make time move faster. And it's actually pretty clever how they do it, because it is sort of things that do make time go quicker for you. Things like drawing, things like reading, things like sprucing up your home. Time always goes quicker when you're having fun. And this game has a little bit of that. It's very, very interesting that they have actual books in this game, because they do. They really do, ladies and gentlemen. You can read the entire 2,958 pages of Moby Dick right here in The Longing. Why you would read it in The Longing and not real life, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe because you want to earn something a little extra than the joy of hearing about the whaling industry in the late 1700s. I don't know. But The Longing is definitely an interesting game. It opens up a lot more after you get the pickaxe, which is going to take you about 2 weeks. Or if you figure out how to just flip through these books, time will actually jump a lot faster. I made like 2 or 3 days go by just flipping through a bunch of pages of Moby Dick. And by a bunch of pages, I mean about 1,000. But it did speed up time an awful lot for me, which made the game, more interesting and more of a game. The music is definitely nice. It's somber and it fits the entire mood of everything going on here. It allows you to do some interesting things, like you can set little markers for yourself and just automatically have your guy go back there, because there are going to be times where you won't be able to figure some things out. There's only one real map in the game, and it's kind of difficult to maybe place yourself, so it's definitely helpful to have these quick access rooms to go back to. Overall, though, the game is very, very interesting. It's very unique. Definitely one of the more interesting titles I've played. I give them kudos all around for the attempt and the artistic interpretation of living. Because that's what the longing is, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it is. Longing to live. So because of all of that, I am going to give this 400-day game a 4 out of 5.
1 star for every 100 days. I feel like that's a fair deal.
I do as well. I feel like you will get that much enjoyment out of every 100 days.
Awesome.
Star for all those.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like both of our games kind of line up. Like your game is kind of like you're exploring a life over a few 100 days. And in this game, you're also exploring life. Although instead of reading Moby Dick, you're actually hitchhiking. And the game, of course, is HitchHiker. It is for the Nintendo Switch. I played it on the PS5, but you can play it on the Nintendo Switch, the PS5, the PS4, the Xbox One, Windows, Linux, or the Mac. It is on so many platforms, so little time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's $19.99 on both the eShop and, of course, the PSN store. I'm going to go ahead and read you the synopsis from the eShop, but again, I played this on the PS5. HitchHiker is a mystery game set along lost highways where your goal is to solve the puzzle of your own backstory. As a hitchhiker with no memory or destination, you catch a series of rides across a strange and beautiful landscape, tracking the mysterious disappearance of a person close to you. Your drivers range from stoic farmers to off-duty waitresses, and each one has a story to tell. Clues appear, alliances emerge, and nothing is quite what it seems. As your journey continues, you must decode the events of your past while confronting the dangers that lie ahead. HitchHiker is a road trip odyssey about exploring the unknown in order to find yourself. Hitchhike across a strange and beautiful landscape in 5 rides with 5 total strangers who will challenge your grasp on reality and maybe your philosophy on life. Solve environmental puzzles and keep an eye out for clues in order to uncover your mysterious past. The choices that you make while speaking with the drivers will reveal your own dark secrets. So this game is it's pretty cool. It's like I would want a visual novel to be if you were playing it. I do a lot of visual novels here on the Switch It Up show, and sometimes I wish that they would kind of just like auto play a little bit and allow me to interact with them, or I wish that they were voiceovers. And this one is more like an interactive movie. As you get picked up along the way as you're hitchhiking, the game starts and you're already you've already completed the process of successfully getting a ride. That's not part of the game. You don't have to worry about sticking your thumb out and hoping somebody picks you up. As it goes from chapter to chapter, you kind of just awaken in a car. And your driver is talking to you, you're finding out a little bit about them, you are choosing to reveal parts of yourself, and as it turns out, you might not be who you think you are, and you're on this journey to discover yourself through these conversations and these experiences with these drivers. And as you go from level to level, or from world to world, or car to car, you uncover a little bit more of that. But the voice acting in this is like top notch. The characters that are driving the car are like super intriguing. I was pulled in right away when I started to play it, and I was like, I need to know like what's going to happen. This was just a really, really cool experience. I thought the story and the way in which it was told was just really unique. I feel like they take kind of like an artsier type of like self-exploration theme, and they
avant-garde.
Yeah, like a little bit.
Themes of self-exploration. exploration.
But they bring it down
I was
to
free associating a little bit.
they bring it down to earth like a little bit more in this, and tell it in a way that's just like maybe more relatable to a larger group of audience. This kind of felt like Firewatch to me a little bit, and like the way that it was
Right on,
paced.
that's not bad.
No, and the way that it was paced, and the way that you kind of like unravel pieces of the story. It also has a really cool soundtrack, and there's parts of this game where you're kind of just like chewing the scenery a little bit, like watching life go by as it goes through the window. But like, you know, you got to be careful. You don't want to let too much time goes by. Who knows what might happen? The plot in this game is a really good mystery. I don't want to spoil anything, but I had a great time with it. You should definitely check out the trailer for this game if you're into you know, like I said, like a game like Firewatch, or a more narrative like movie interactive game. Maybe you really like The Walking Dead, like Telltale. If you like the Telltale games, you might like this. There's not that much point and click. It's more like choose your own response, almost like Heavy Rain, but like the stakes aren't that high. Like, you know, because in Heavy Rain it was like, oh my god, I gotta find my child. But in this one, it's not.
More like Detroit Become Human.
Yeah, well, yeah, same type of thing. But the Hitchhiker is kind of told along that way. You definitely owe it to yourself to check out the trailer and see if it's something that you're into. Because I don't want to reveal any of the story, because finding out the story was the main part of this game. Very much felt like a movie, and I was in. It is $19.99 across all of the platforms. I definitely think it's worth it. I like it a lot. I'm going to go ahead and give this a 4.5 out of 5.
High praise for the Hitchhiker.
That's it.
Hitcher?
The Hitchhiker.
The Hitchhiker.
The Hitchhiker.
The Hitchhiker. The Hitcher is the remake Sean Bean horror film, correct?
Yeah. And then, you know, there's original HBO one as well. Just coming
Yeah,
out on
that
Blu-ray
was
soon.
creepy. Creepy stuff.
It is
great
creepy.
games. Interesting games all around today on the Switch It Up show. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if things ever get boring for any of you, you don't want to hear from Atza Trap or our friend Glenn, he's after him the crib, you can always switch it up.